Well, hi everyone, and welcome now to the beginning of your journey around the solar system in 365 days. And so, in this video and subsequent videos, I am going to share with you the Hebrew letters that are correlated or hold the energies of the gene keys that you are studying that week or each week, or the codon reads that you're working in. And so I'll be sharing the attributes of those Hebrew letters. And so you're starting off with a bang. You're starting off in the codon ring of life and death. And as you know, this is all about transformations, changes happening, birthing new ideas into the world, awakening your consciousness, and just the death and life and the rebirth cycle. So this is really a huge place to begin. And let me just say, I wish you many ego deaths along the way, and hopefully, maybe by the end, we can have an entire ego death. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So before I get started, I want to just say something about the information that I'm going to share. I recognize that you are already being served a full and complete meal. Your dinner plate is going to be full with what the hosts are offering of your course. And so I consider what I have to offer, perhaps you can consider it like a little after dinner aperitif, a little cognac or espresso that you can imbibe in once you feel complete and you feel like, oh, I'm just going to rest now and invite something new and contemplate that. Just bring something new into my awareness. These letters, these qualities that we'll be sharing with you are nothing that you can grasp or hold on to or do something with. They are very gentle and they just simply need an invitation, your contemplation. That's all they require. No homework or study necessary. Okay? Although I may have a suggestion or two. Okay, so moving on. One thing I will mention about the Hebrew letters, the Hebrew letters and numbers are the same, so I'll be using that word interchangeably. The Hebrew letters are not energies. However, I will probably say the word energy many times. I will use it, but I don't mean energies. The Hebrew letters are prior to energy, prior to consciousness, and prior to awareness. They are the essence and the fire that is behind everything. Okay? They are vibrating so fast and a frequency so high that they appear to not be there. They're at still point, they're silent, and they are invisible. So I don't want you to be fooled that in your invitation, in inviting these things into your life, that you don't notice anything. They are extremely, extremely powerful, but very subtle. You may not even recognize that they are doing things in your life, creating situations or bringing things into your life, because they're so subtle that you may not recognize the manifestation hasn't happened yet. But rest assured, they are there. They are just like the cities and the gene keys. They are essences, not energies, powerful but subtle. Okay? But I may call them energies. It's just hard not to say energy. All right. So, the codon ring of life and death. The Hebrew letter that contains all of those gene keys and this codon ring, the amino acid, is the 9th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it's called Tet. And this letter is a huge letter. So this video is going to take a little bit longer to get through. I do apologize, but I have to do it justice. This letter or this number within the Hebrew alphabet represents a completion point along the spiritual journey. So it is a completion within itself. You're beginning at a completion. So it's a big number. And what I'll say about the Hebrew system or the Kabbalah system is that the Hebrew letters 1 through 9 are all about personal evolution. You know, exactly what you're going through now. You're working through the gene keys, you're evolving yourself, you're learning what you are and what you are not, the difference between ego. You're doing all of your personal work. And so when we get to the 9, when some things have happened along the spiritual journey, they consider this a completion point. They consider certain things have happened, and now you're ready to come out into the world and express yourself. And so the double letters of the Hebrew alphabet are all about walking your talk and being of service and actualizing your true potential. Okay? So this Hebrew letter, I think I'll bring it up I'll share screen so you can get a look at it. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're seeing it. So the first thing that you will notice about this letter, or I'll draw your attention to, is that this letter looks like a container. It's a vessel. The word tet means the goodness hidden within. And the very first word that was created by this letter is the word good. And then God saw the light and said it was good. So this goodness hidden within is referring to the Kundalini. I want to say energies, but it's the Kundalini essence within you. It is the light of God, your God spark resting within you that is looking to be awakened. So we can also see in this letter, and you can also see in this letter, that it looks like a womb and that there is perhaps a baby in there waiting to be birthed. But also this letter looks like a snake or the serpent, the head of the snake, the body, and a very strong base, and the tail. So I'm getting a little sidetracked here. So Kundalini, if you're familiar with this word, you know that the word kunda means bowl. So I'm just drawing a link between the Hindu tradition Kundalini and the Hebrew letter tet, that they both are referring to this bowl, this container of your Kundalini, your essence, your God spark, that is the goodness hidden within you. Okay? And in the Hebrew tradition, Kundalini is referred to Shekinah, but other names, Divine Mother, Kundalini Shakti. Okay, so if you'll notice also that this letter and all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet are written with a curvy and a flip. They're written that way or drawn that way to represent that these letters are flames, that they are the fire prior to manifestation. However, in this letter, you will see a very strong manifested straight line. And that's because this letter tet, the number 9, is the foundation of the entire tree of life. It is representing your sacrum, your ability to root yourself into this world. It is the foundation of your entire life, your spiritual journey, and your beingness here. And that is because Kundalini is you wouldn't be here if you didn't have Kundalini. So it is the foundation of your life here. I'm going to stop share at this moment. And you can look up that image online and get it for yourself. All right, so where do we begin with this very big number? So it is about the goodness hidden within, and ultimately it's about you manifesting your true self out into the world, actualizing your full potential. This number holds all the archetypes that have ever existed. It's about you birthing your archetype into the world. But it's also about, how do we do that? How can we actualize our true self, our true transcendental self into the world? Okay. This isn't about self-development and creating a nicer ego into the world. It's about a level of ego death that allows the true self, your essence, your light energy, light essence, to be birthed into this world. And how do we do that? Well, this letter tells us it is through the awakening and the rising up of Kundalini. And I probably say energy, but you know what I mean. It doesn't matter. So let's talk about Kundalini energy. Okay, this is a very big topic, but this, and perhaps I shouldn't be sharing all this information with you, but really this number requires it. Okay, I told you it's a very big topic, and I would hate to not share this information with you. So let me see here. Just a few things before we get on to Kundalini. This letter is both masculine and feminine. It is the elements of fire and water. It is the union of divine thought and divine will being birthed into this world. And it is the holder of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And the tree of knowledge is all about our sexual energy and our reproductive organs and what we do with that. How do we use that energy in this world? Now, I kind of want to go back, and I want to talk about the welcome call, share with you my feelings, what I felt from all of you. And thank you, Bella, for letting people show their faces, because that was absolutely brilliant. And what I saw in all of your faces, I just want you to know how I felt, was that I absolutely saw pure beauty. Of course, tangible beauty, but beyond the tangible physical beauty that I saw, I could see your inner light springing forth, just shining through you. It was so beautiful. I was very moved. And, of course, I felt the excitement and the eagerness, coming forth. But it also struck me very deeply. I could feel this underlying little seed. Perhaps you don't even know it's there, but perhaps I felt it. That there was this seed of longing, and this seed in you, and it's in all of us, may feel like this longing to belong to a group, or I got to find my tribe, be around people who are like-minded, like-hearted. But what I really felt was, it is your longing to be whole. Your longing to be in union with God, whether you know it or not. And I know this is in you because you wouldn't be on this call and in this course if it wasn't there. And that longing, recognized or not, is Kundalini speaking to you and guiding you. And so I can say with certain, if not all of you, most of you are probably already experiencing a Kundalini awakening. Don't have time to go into those symptoms. You can look online, but most of those doesn't include everything. Or if you haven't or know that you are in a Kundalini awakening, for sure, I feel certain you have experienced Kundalini arousal, which is most of what you'll find on the internet talking about Kundalini arousal, which may or may not be a Kundalini awakening. And this Kundalini arousal and this letter Tet, talking about the sexual energy and what do we do with it. I hope I can convey this to you. There's a lot of information here. So this letter Tet contains the tree of knowledge, which is how do we use our sexual energy. This is all about sexual alchemy. And so this sexual energy, you may feel it in meditation or when you're listening to wisdom reading, you may feel a little, it's that tingling inside of you in the base of your sexual organs. So you feel a little tingle. Well, that's just not sexual desire. We've been conditioned, of course, to say that's sexual desire and the body wants pleasure and wants release. But you know what that really is? It's Kundalini. It's your God essence saying, hello. You're reading truth, you're hearing truth, or you're in meditation and you're in truth, and I'm opening up and I'm bubbling up to the surface, and I want you to open up to me. It's knocking on your door to say hello. And the question that this Hebrew letter asks of you, what are you going to do with that? You know, they talk about, are you going to spill it out into the world? And this is where in this letter, the Garden of Eden comes from, that Adam and Eve, they wanted physical pleasure of the apple. And so they and pleasure, so they ejected God out into the world. So this is all about, what do you do with that tingling that you feel? That's God knocking on your door. That's your true self knocking on the door. And it is Kundalini infusing the fluids of the body. What do you do with that? Do you eject it, or do you do something else? And the something else, if you're not familiar, is taking of that energy and pulling it up your spine and into your head, because Kundalini wants to rise up and be in union with God, and it's called the Bindu points. There's many points of awakening, but we want to rise that Kundalini up our spine so that it awakens us into self-realization, and then we have union with God. And at that point, there's usually an ego death, and then we can bring that energy back down from the transcendent back down into our hearts and then into our solar plexus and ground and root and actualize our potential. And this is even representative in the number 9. We have the rising of the Kundalini into our head, and then it comes back down to be grounded into the earth. And as a side note, this is what the Ankh is all about. The rising up of Kundalini energy coming around, goes back into the heart, and then grounds into the belly. So this is the fullness of this number 9, or this letter Tet. It contains a lot. And I hope I'm not conveying here that sexual pleasure isn't wonderful and not to use it, but at this point in your journey, this may be time to invite Kundalini up your spine rather than out into the world. Don't eject God. It's time to bring God into your conscious awareness. And an exercise you can do is on the in-breath, you take that little tingling, or even if you don't feel it, take that tingling and pull it just with your intention up the spine, and you may or may not feel energy. You can see it as water going up your spine, water up your spine. On the out breath, a little fountain or a flower stem, the stem going up on the in breath and flowering on the out breath. And you can do that, and then suddenly you may just realize, oh, Kundalini is rising on its own, and then you just let go and you surrender to it. And a warning here, Kundalini, like the Hebrew letters, are essences, and they're so powerful. The Divine Mother, Kundalini Shakti, is no one you want to mess with and no one you want to force. But this little exercise can be an invitation to see where you're at, what she would like from you. So do this gently, no forcing, because this can have this can cause, if you force it and you get a real rush of energy, it could really blow some of your circuits. It could damage your subtle bodies and cause psychological upheaval. So we don't want to force anything. This is an invitation of the Divine Mother within you to rise up and interact with the Shiva, the male consciousness within you, and to have union. Okay? And also, this is about male and female union in this, so we can use our sexual essence, this sexual energy, bubbling up with another person. This is sexual alchemy. This is forms of tantra where you engage. It's all about intention. If it's, if it's about awakening consciousness and the two of you being in union with God, then Godspeed, use it that way. Okay, but it's simply okay to have, of course, to have pleasure as well. But there is another reason for that tingling. We just didn't know it. We didn't know that tingling was inside of us was God knocking on the door. So I know I realized this was a long video and I probably went off topic, but this codon ring of life and death is really speaking to the death of the ego, the awakening of consciousness, self-realization, through the rising up of Kundalini, through the head, through the points, the Bindu points, the awakening points, and then coming back down and embodying those qualities, walking your talk, and actualizing your full potential into the world. So I hope during your contemplation of this letter and perhaps visualizing the image of this letter, and don't worry, you cannot hold on to it, it'll just fade, that you too will find the goodness hidden within. And God saw the light and it was good. Until next time.